Tony, let's start with the big light heavyweight title fight on the weekend. Your former division, right? It's a division where you were British, European and Commonwealth champion, so it's a division you know a lot about. But I thought Yarde was fantastic. In the end, it wasn't enough because he's in there against a very, very good fighter in Artur Beterbiev. You don't have that record of 19 wins, 19 fights, 19 knockouts if you're not tough and durable. Before we talk about what next for both, because I think there is a big discussion there, what did you make of Yarde's performance and what did you make of Beterbiev's performance, especially if you're looking forward to the Bivol fight?
I think Anthony Yarde's performance was really good. I thought it was a 6-round shootout, and when he was still there after 7 and had his moments in the fight, I thought he'd done really well. I think Beterbiev is slowing down. Father Time waits for no one. I do think, and I've said this for quite a while now, I've seen vulnerabilities even before the Callum Johnson fight. Callum Johnson reaffirmed them vulnerabilities. You have to look at the signature wins in his career, and I think we're right in saying that Joe Smith is probably the best win of his career on paper.
I would say Gvozdyk. I'd say Gvozdyk.
Okay, yeah, I've got that wrong, Gvozdyk, because after what Gvozdyk done to Adonis Stevenson, yeah, I'll go with that. I'll have that 100%. But it's just the age. He's getting older and he's getting slower and he gets hit a lot more. I mean, Anthony Yarde isn't the biggest puncher in the light heavyweight division. He's come across bigger punches in the likes of Joe Smith, Gvozdyk, Tavoris Cloud. He's come across bigger punches, but he's been hit numerous times now. And as I said, he seems to be slowing down. I do think anyone who wants to stand in front of him and just trade up and bang away will probably come unstuck, because his strength will come through. But if you get someone who's a clever counter puncher who can catch and counter, i.e. Callum Smith, I just believe he's tailor-made. I mean, if I was training Callum Smith, or if I was anything to do with someone like Callum Smith or Canelo Alvarez, I would say there is a style here and you guys do it brilliantly. You can beat him. I genuinely would. So I know this is going to set the DAZN, the DBS show on fire, but I don't really care. It's my opinion and I'll stick to it. I just think he's there for the taking.
No, look, I mean, look, you're not naming scrubs here. You're naming former light heavyweight champion, former or current undisputed 168-pound champion. You're naming Callum Smith, who's only lost once, right, and looks really good under Buddy McGurk.
I think Bivol will beat him as well, comfortably.
Ooh, comfortably. Okay. Wait, Pause for a second, Tony. So this guy is 19 fights, 19 wins, 19 knockouts. So he finds a way in all of his fights against world-level guys. You mentioned Tavares Cloud, Marcus Brown, Gvozdyk, Joe Smith Jr., all world-class guys. Destroyed all of them. Not just destroyed them, none of them are fighting again, Tone. Marcus Brown hasn't fought since. Gvozdyk has retired. Tavares Cloud retired. He doesn't just beat you.
Fights, Addy, but they're catching up with him. And it's there to be seen. That the writing is on the wall. It's there to everyone to look at. He's slowing down. Or was it that Yarde was a bit faster than expected? Because Yarde does have fast feet and fast hands. Is it that Yarde is fast or he's slowing down? We spoke about this last week. We said Yarde had the advantage in hand speed and foot speed. But he chose to stand too many times. He got caught dwindling on the ropes, and that's how the knockout came about. When he used the range and used his footwork, he was the better fighter in certain parts of the fight. But the minute he stood still on them ropes, that was all she wrote. And this is what it is. The likes of Callum Smith, he will set a trap and he will counter, and he has one of the best counter left hooks in boxing.
But we've also seen Callum Smith. And again, this was against Canelo and it was before Buddy McGurk. But we saw him backed up against Canelo on the ropes all the night against Canelo.
I agree. I 100% agree. And he just tucked up and didn't fire enough back. But listen, styles make fights, and it's just the way it is, Addy. I mean, I genuinely, like, Bivol is a nightmare for him. I mean, Bivol is probably the hardest light heavyweight out of them all to beat, because he can adjust and adapt. His footwork is excellent compared to all the others, and I mean, I'm only being such an admirer now because he's shown it at various levels. He's shown it against the elite in Canelo. As I said, he's just beat up Ramirez for a laugh. You know, the guys were about 50 or something stupid like that. So I know the level what Bivol is capable of, But I've also seen Bivol drop and underperform numerous occasions, and I don't want to take anything away from the guys who he's underperformed against, but that's just what it is. Fighters rise to the occasion, and Bivol is one of them. I you know, people will say, well, Callum Smith and what happened with Canelo. I get it, yeah, but when fighters are tailor-made from, like, when Callum Smith fought George Groves, I said 100% Callum Smith will stop George Groves, and everyone was like, no way, how is Callum Smith? It's just a stylistic thing, it's the way they match up, and I just believe Artur Beterbiev is made, he's literally made for Callum.
Bear in mind, obviously, Beterbiev has this 100% record, and look, it doesn't tell the true story of his fights, does it? But he has a 100% record. Going into the fight against Yarde, who was number one on the planet for you, Bivol or Beterbiev?
I think Bivol's the number one purely for the win over Canelo. Don't get me wrong, the best win on Bivol's record is against the best super middleweight in the world, but by a country mile. Whereas Beterbiev has beaten the man who I regarded was really the man at light heavyweight in Gvozdyk.
Yes.
So, you know, that's tough. It is because Beterbiev has the best light heavyweight win out of them all.
Agreed.
Because that Gvozdyk one is big. I don't know why that slipped my mind. The punches have actually had an effect on me over all these years. But he's like I said, anyone who was beating Adonis Stevenson the way he did, and don't get me wrong, he had multiple knockdowns if I remember correctly in that fight, but he gets up and he rides and sees Stevenson out. But Stevenson's another one. Father Time had these guys, they just go on and on and on. Sergey Kovalev, another one. These guys keep going on, and it catches up with them. When these guys, I mean, could you imagine the light heavyweight division with a prime Adonis Stevenson, a prime Gvozdyk, a prime Sergey Kovalev, a prime Beterbiev? It's just been unfortunate they've come along and they should have all clashed, to be honest, because they're not far off each other in age. But it's just how fighters progress when they turn pro, how they develop through the pros. That's what it is. So, listen, I'm not saying it's an easy fighter because he's an absolute monster. I actually compared him and said this guy is boxing's Khabib. He doesn't look great watching him, and he looks really easy to beat. I genuinely believe that when you watch him on tape, but then he's someone, when you get in the ring with him, and you know what, he just doesn't go away. And every time he keeps touching you, they're like heavy thuds, and the thuds get stronger, and he doesn't stop. And it's not the fact of he goes in at like someone like Canelo and just outclasses everyone and beats them up and then knocks them out. He takes a fair bit on the way in, and people do hit him. He has been dropped, he has been hit. He got hit off a body shot 100% in that Yarde fight twice, and it just made him stop and slow down. But he grinds you out. He takes souls. That's what he does. That's why people are retiring after they fight him. He literally takes your soul.
Yeah, I said he outmans you. He questions your manhood. He outmans you. He says, okay, let's go, man, oh man. And so far, 19 guys have tried and 19 have all failed. Look, let's hope we get Bivol Beterbiev sometime in the summer. That's what we want, right? Number one versus number two, so we can stop the arguments. A quick one on Anthony Yarde. Tunde decided to stop the fight in the 8th round after Yarde got up.
Decision.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Good decision?
Brilliant decision, Adi. I mean, best bit. I know we're only in January, but best decision I've seen from a trainer this year. and I'll go as far as saying I think it will be the best decision you'll see from any trainer this year. Tunde gets an awful lot of stick, but believe you me, Anthony Yarde was 1 or 2 shots from being really hurt on Saturday night. I've been there, I speak from experience. I've been very fortunate that I've had 2 referees save my life. I was up when I fought Alexander Usyk. I was up at the count of 5. Didn't know where I was, didn't know what was going on, was speaking absolute gibberish to the referee, and then he just saves me. But I wanted to fight on. Against Adonis Stevenson, I'm asleep while I'm standing up. And Michael Griffin.
You're making me laugh. It's not funny, but you're
thanks, Dad. Just rub it in, mate.
Sorry.
I'm going to give you a taste. I'm going to let you know what it's like to sleep standing up next time.
No, please don't. It's just funny the way you say it.
But I swear, mate, against the Stevenson, I was asleep on my feet. I was out. Then it's the punch that you can't brace for, the punch that you do not see come. That's the one that does the most damage. Believe me, I've studied boxing. I've speak to the most advanced neurological professor in the country. His name's Professor Paul May. He's the most influential man in all of neurology in the whole country. The only purely neurological hospital in the UK is in Walton in Liverpool, and Professor Paul May put it in place there. So I've spoke to him and I know him, And that punch you can't brace for is the one that will see you in a really bad way. And that's the state Anthony Yarde's in Saturday. I've been there, like I said, against Adonis Stevenson. Michael Griffin, the referee, saved my life 100%. Because when you get hit that hard off punches like them, it's not good, mate. It's really bad. So Sunday, I think you've done an amazing job. Your man lives to fight another day. And you really do deserve an awful lot of accolades, pal. I couldn't speak highly enough of what you've done.
Yeah, well done to Tunde. You're right, he gets a lot of stick, but he got it all right. I think the corner advice on Saturday was fantastic as well. James Cook in the corner with them, experienced
Very
voice.
clever, man.
I think it was really well done. And fingers crossed that Boazzi was there. He was working for BT Sports on the weekend in a commentary role. Let's hope that we get Boazzi versus Yarde sometime in 2023. But let's more hope that we get number 1 versus number 2, Bivol versus Beterbiev, for an undisputed.